Coming up on Ask the Tech Guys, Leo Laporte is still out, but don't worry, there were lots of great questions today. We had one caller who said, look, I've got an iPhone 12. Is it worth upgrading to the iPhone 15? Plus, Dicky D. DeBartolo joined us to talk about magnets, how do they work, and another great gizmo. Plus, a question about recording the boot sequence of a Mac to show employees how to log in and use their machine. All of that is coming up on Ask the Tech Guys.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Ask the Tech Guys with Mikah Sargent, episode 2002, recorded Sunday, November 26th, 2023. Therapy may help. This episode of Ask the Tech Guys is brought to you by Cashfly, delivering rich media content up to 159% faster than other major CDNs. Join Cashfly, the world's fastest CDN. Your website visitors will love Cashfly's lag-free video loading, hyperfast downloads, and friction-free transaction processing. Learn how to get your first month free at cashfly.com/twit.
Listeners of this program get an ad-free version if they're members of Club Twit. $7 a month gives you ad-free versions of all of our shows. Plus, membership in the Club Twit Discord, a great clubhouse for Twit listeners. And finally, the Twit Plus feed with shows like Stacy's Book Club, The Untitled Linux Show, and more. Go to twit.tv/clubtwit. And thanks for your support.
Hello and welcome to Ask the Tech Guys. Today it is just a tech guy, one of the two, as Leo Laporte is not here with us this week. He will be back soon. I believe in 2 weeks' time you will see him again on Ask the Tech Guys, and you'll see him sooner on other shows as he makes his way back from his retreat. But today I am solo hosting this episode of Ask the Tech Guys, and if you're tuning in, you probably know what this show is all about. It's all about taking your tech questions and doing our best, or in case my best, to answer them. We talk about all things internet, AI, home theater, gadgets, gizmos, and everything in between. It's a great time, and I'm thankful for all of you who join to ask questions. So, how do you actually ask questions? Well, we have many ways of doing so. First, you can head to call.twit.tv on your device of choice. We suggest using a phone because if you open up the browser on your phone, you head to call.twit.tv, you will get a little prompt to join a Zoom call. You'll be taken into the Zoom stage where you kind of hang out, and when we have you come up on to the into our little portal here that we have, you'll be able to answer your question. That is one way of doing it, but you can also call us at 888-724-2884. When you call that number, you will be able to join us also via Zoom, but it won't feel that way. It'll feel like you're just making a call. Importantly, when you call that number while we're live on stage or on air, what we need you to do is, if you're brought into the room to get to actually ask your question, hit *6 to unmute yourself. That will let you chat with us. And then if you call that number during the week while we are not on air, you could actually leave a voicemail. So that's a great way of doing it as well. The last option is to email us, atg@twit.tv. When you head to ATG, or when you email atg@twit.tv with your simple text-based question or your audio or video attachment, we'll be able to get that there and answer it. I have a load of emails here ready to be answered, so we thank you for your questions. Before we do dig into all of that, I wanted to take a second to talk a little bit about deals. We are after Thanksgiving, so technically here in the United States, Thanksgiving takes place on a Thursday, and technically the day following that is Black Friday. Black Friday is, well, it's not even technically. It is the day that follows Thanksgiving, and it is Black Friday. But it's come to expand to be so much more. But we'll talk about Black Friday first. I have heard and was told that the reason it is called Black Friday is because it is an opportunity for companies to get into the black, meaning that they are sort of rounding out the year, selling the products that they have to make sure that the balance books look good, that the budget is in place, and that profitability and revenue are all where they should be, and that is being in the black. And so, in order to support that necessity, they have these great deals in some cases that are called Black Friday. Now, Black Friday in the United States and elsewhere has expanded. And it has honestly become kind of a whole month. November tends to be this deals month at the end of the year. But following Black Friday into the weekend up until the next Monday, which is tomorrow as we record this show, that is where Cyber Monday takes place, which was kind of the first extension of Black Friday. Black Friday started to creep into the weekend, and then you got around to Monday, and that was the day where you had lots of great deals online. Over time, these deals have gotten to be a lot of nonsense. In many cases, the deals are not as they appear to be, or may not even be a heavily discounted item. But occasionally you will come across some great deals. So I wanted to talk this morning about how to find good deals at this time of year, but also the year round. One of the first places that if you are a tech person, or if you are wanting to buy gadgets specifically, I truly believe you can't go wrong visiting any of the big tech sites and finding one of their articles on deals. So, for example, The Verge has a deal page from Nathan Edwards, and it's currently called The Best Early Cyber Monday Deals. So Nathan Edwards is adding different deals to this page. And what's great about this is Nathan Edwards specifically has worked at a company called the Wirecutter, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. And so the deal hunting is really good here. So let's take a look at this page just to see kind of what's going on. So it's kind of a spotlight. It talks about headphone and earbud deals. So one of these is Apple's second generation AirPods Pro, and it has the USB-C charging case. Apple itself is not a deals company, but the way that you can get good deals on products from Apple is through its partners. It's the different places where these products are sold. So, for example, Amazon, Target, and Best Buy, which all sell Apple products, will often have deals that you can go and find. So, right now, the second generation AirPods Pro with that USB-C charging case is 24% off. Deals on the Google Pixel, Sonos devices, electric screwdriver, which is kind of cool. But as we go down here, we can see some of the main big deals, but also different categories of deals. Let me find that. So, for example, the best headphone and earbud deals. Again, AirPods, Bose Quiet Comfort. These are kind of the big names that you will have heard Leo and I talk about in the past when people are calling in with their recommendations, writing in with the recommendations. So, again, something like The Verge or another main tech site is a great place to go if you're looking specifically for good deals on tech stuff. When it comes to good deals in general, there is one place I go, and that is Wirecutter, now owned by the New York Times, and that's why it's dropped the "the" in front of the Wirecutter. It is now just Wirecutter. And they have a team that is constantly making sure that the best deals are gathered and available. So right now, 175 out of the 118,000. So they've reviewed 118,000 different deals and found the 175 that are actually deals. Because that's the thing, you will often see these products marked down, but the deals aren't that great. So thus far, 175 deals are the ones. Now, what is this but one of the sponsors on our network, Brooklinen, currently the all-season down comforter in full or queen size is on sale. And Wirecutter has in the past recommended this this specific comforter, and so they found that this deal was good and worth it, as opposed to being some of the deals that aren't. If you're in the market for a photo printer, then this is a good deal on that. And so you can scroll through this huge list of items, 175, and find those. And Wirecutter did this with Black Friday as well. So when if you head to Amazon or another online site that sells products, you'll be presented with so many different options, and going through them, you'll find, oh, right, a lot of this is stuff that's junk, frankly, that I don't need, that I don't want. How do I find the good stuff? For me, that has always been Wirecutter, which is sifting through the cruft to really find the good stuff. Now, this is particularly helpful around these special deals holidays, because they do have these special guides that are all about, Cyber Monday or Black Friday. But another place that I will use, and this is something that you can use year round, is a little site called CamelCamel. And it is quite literally spelled out, CamelCamel.com. CamelCamel is a site that helps you track Amazon prices and be able to get notifications when those prices are what you want them to be. So let's head over to Amazon and let's take a look at the site. And I can see that they have headphones and earbuds on sale. So we'll click on this as a Cyber Monday deal. And we see that they have Beats Studio Pro, which are currently more than 50% off. So I'll click on this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this link up here and copy it. And then I'm going to go to the CamelCamel page, and for in the Find Amazon Products thing, I will just simply paste that link and do a search. This will bring up the actual Beats Studio Pro from the website, and what I can do is I can scroll down and look at its price history. So for as long as this device has been listed on Amazon, these are the different prices at which it was sold. So it looks like $350 up until just before September, at which point the price dropped down to $250, rose back up to $350, dropped, rose, dropped, rose, and between September and October was back at that $350 price point before it dropped down to a little over $160, again back up, back down, and then now it is at the best price that it's ever been at, which is $170. So you can see they will give a tag, this little tag over here that says best price. So I know that $169.95, that is the best, in the sense of lowest price, that it has ever been offered from a first party seller on Amazon. You can then, if you create a CamelCamel account, create a price watch. And what this does is it has CamelCamel look at Amazon and watch for price changes. And when a product hits a price that you want it to hit, then it will email you and let you know, hey, this device or item is on sale. So let's head over into the Cyber Monday deals here and just find something that's available for sale on Amazon. So this Canon Pixma Pro. So we'll copy the link and we'll pop over and paste that in. And oops, that's because it's a redirect. So let me have that redirect real quick. And so then we go to this page, we grab this link. And by the way, you can also create a little bookmarklet that will give you this same option. If you use a browser other than Safari, you will also be able to use the CamelCamel extension if you'd like. Now, I'm going to create a price watch. And this is what's great about creating a price watch, is that you're given the option to say, if any price drop happens if it drops by 3%, if it drops by 5%, by 7%, by 10%, let me know. Now, because this is already at its best price, it doesn't have more options. But if it was listed at, say, $415, and Camel knows that at some point it was listed for $400, it will let you know, hey, this is the best price that it's ever been listed at. I will send you a notification when it reaches the best price again. So I have loads of different products that I have considered purchasing in the past, saved in my price watches. And at any given time, I will get emails that say, hey, this is available for that price that you had wanted. A really good example of this is that every time Black Friday rolls around or any sort of deals holiday rolls around, Anchor tends to put their products on some sort of sale. So pretty regularly, I'll get an email that says, hey, you know all those Anchor products that you have listed that you wanted to get? Yeah, those are on sale. Those are available. You can check those out and be able to get it at that reduced price. I think CamelCamel is fantastic. It has saved me loads of money and given me the ability to, again, track that best price. Or in some cases, what I've used it for is when a product is out of stock, setting a price watch for the Amazon price of any adjustment will let me know, oh, they're listing it again. It's finally available for you to purchase. So it's a little bit of a kind of restock system and also a price watch system. And again, that can be used outside of Black Friday, outside of those deals. So it's well worth checking out those options. But yes, between something like The Verge or another tech site that is specifically focused on someone said in the chat, Anchor products are on sale more often than not. That is very true. That's kind of sort of part of their business. And it's great because then you can get it on sale and you can save some money. But finding a tech site for tech stuff or another site, if you're for home goods, there are likely sites out there that are specific to home goods during the year. They'll focus on those deals during the Cyber Monday, Black Friday deals, holidays. And then any time of the year, something like CamelCamel can help you find good deals. And one thing I want to mention too is that with the Wirecutter, on the side, you will find a list of daily deals. And this is available again all year round. So you are able to see kind of different products that Wirecutter has maybe recommended in the past or think are good, and will then give you a notification, letting you know, not a notification, but giving you a list of these items that you can then purchase at a reduced price. So it's well worth checking that out as well. And again, because there's so much here, another feature that I like with CamelCamel is that they have a popular section, which if you ever need some retail therapy, the popular section is a lot of fun because it will just show you some of the products that are popular with the CamelCamel community. So these are things that people are either just clicking on or actually going through and purchasing. So sometimes you can find some good deals that may not be listed. It's funny, this 2 terabyte Extreme portable SSD is on my price watch list, and I keep getting notified that it's on sale. But all of these products are ones that have great deals, either best price or have good deals, and then you can also actually keep track of them if you'd like. And then there is also a top drops section, so it will show you how much these have dropped. So if they've gone, for example, this book went from, I think it's actually a comic, but it went from $25 to now just $1.99. So you can sort these by how much of a discount has actually taken place on these different items. So CamelCamel, even if you don't plug in any of your own personal stuff, also gives you just good deals across Amazon itself. That is my little rundown of different deals that you can find, be it during the deals holiday season of November or during the year. And I think that means it's time for us to take our first break here on Ask the Tech Guys. It's just me this week, Mikah Sargent, as Leo Laporte is out. He'll be back in a couple of weeks to join me back on the show. But in the meantime, let me tell you about HID Global. Leave the stress of tedious PKI management behind in 2023 and stress less with complete certificate lifestyle automation from HID Global's PKI as a service model. With Google moving towards 90-day SSL certificates, don't get caught in a tough place. Automation is now a must-have, and HID's model of automation does not require any additional hardware or software investment or installs in order to automate the life cycles of your organization's certificates. For Google and Mac systems, HID's connector model of PKI uses open source certificate utilities so your organization can use multiple operating systems. It's great for bring your own device systems. You can ease your procurement pains. With HID Global, you can get up and running in 2 weeks, much quicker than competitors. Their assistance with deployment always includes their incomparable white glove service, expertise, and knowledge. Plus, you receive ownership of private keys. HID takes care of your PKI so you can spend your holidays and weekends taking care of yourself, your family, and the things that matter to you outside of work. Visit hid.link/ATG demo today. That's hid.link/ATG demo. Thank you, HID Global, for sponsoring this week's episode of Ask the Tech Guys. All right, we are back from the break, and that means it's time for your questions. And I will let our wonderful producer, John Ashley, handle the decision of where we go and to whom we speak.
All right, I'm going to try and move Mark into our breakout room.
Mark, get ready. You are being moved into the breakout room. Reminder to those of you who call in at call.twit.tv. If you have a question, be sure to click the button. It's typically at the bottom of the UI that says raise hand. You need to click that raise hand button if you have a question. That way we know that you have a question and that you are not just kind of hanging out in the Zoom room, because we do have some folks who just like to hang out there, which is totally fine. So Mark is making his move, and once we have him there, then he'll come up on our Stargate. For those of you who are watching, for those of you who are listening, I'm sure momentarily we'll hear Mark say hello and tell us from whence he hails.
Hi. Well, the background is the Colorado River, but I'm in Tustin, California.
Oh, okay. Well, hello, Mark. I do believe I remember you.
Yeah, I'm calling back for a couple things, and I wrote them down.
Awesome.
A while back, you said you had an issue with long COVID, and I have something for that if you want it. We don't have to do it on air now, but if you want it, it's worked for me. And I had like high heart rate for 6 months after COVID, and I took these 2 supplements, and the NIH, I got it from the NIH.
Oh, okay. And we've got a lot of listeners, I'm sure, out there who would benefit from hearing, what's worked for other people. So tell me about it.
It's just NAC, and you can get them from Now Products. I get Consumer Labs, which tests vitamins and supplements to make sure they're okay and don't have any contaminations. And so the Now supplements NAC and bromelain. You can.
Sorry, I was going to say, I think I have a friend who is suffering from a really intense case of long COVID and had mentioned some of these before.
Yeah, what it does is it just simply unfolds the COVID spike proteins, which just clears them. I mean, if they're no longer folded to be a COVID spike protein, they stop doing damage. And then they get cleared out. So that's basically the mechanism.
Nice.
So, yeah. And so anyhow, it's just NAC. I'm not going to, I forget exactly how to say NAC. Something else, cysteine. But I forget exactly how to say it. I could run and get the bottles to show them if you want.
No, that's okay. We'll stick with just the names there.
Yeah, I want to go through, and I couldn't find the sync thing. What is it? YouTube videos that Leo was going to put up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I looked. So I don't know if any of them will do. So that was it. If when he comes back, I'd be interested for him to put that up.
Okay. Yeah, we'll make a note of that.
and just one other quick thing is I was going to get the. Sorry, all of a sudden my brain is just.
That's okay.
Anyhow, but I was going to get the your subscription, and then it said, "Hey, there's a promo code," and I thought, "Oh, do you have a promo code? Or is that just something that system always puts up for everybody?"
So a promo, I assume you're talking about Club Twit at twit.tv/Club Twit.
Yeah.
I don't know of a promo code that we offer. If you use something like Honey or one of those services that offer promo codes, it's possible that something was suggested to you. That's the only thing that I could think of for why there would be. So you're saying it actually prompted you and said, "Hey, here's a promo code for you to use."
No, it just said I put in a promo code as I was ordering.
Got it.
And I thought, oh, well, if there's a promo code, what is it? Otherwise, I would have just bought it. And if so, maybe you guys want to take it off because it stops people like me who go, I want to take advantage of a promo code.
I understand.
I would have just bought it. So either get rid of it or.
Yeah. So let me clarify because that's a really good point. So basically, these different systems that we have that are at the heart of Club Twit, they have a standardized sort of payment flow. And the payment flow takes you to a page where you're putting in your information, and there's the ability to create promo codes that we have for some of our contributors, for example, who are then able to pop in a promo code because they've been on our shows. We want them to be able to be in the Club Twit Discord. So it's not something we'd be able to get rid of, but perhaps I'll pass that along to the team that we might have like a note that says something along the line, that sort of explains that a promo code is not offered by default, that it is something that is specific to our contributors. But that's an important thing. It's good to know, how different behaviors might play into it. But yes, as of right now, I will tell the world we do not offer any promo code. But I can't say that'll never be the case. Maybe there will be a time where a promo code is offered. Don't
make people wait. That's the old Osborne thing. Osborne said he was going to put out a better Osborne computer way back in the early 80s. And then everybody stopped buying Osborne 1. It was a luggable computer. I remember when I was in college, one of my guys next door to me had one. Anyhow, and then the last question is my mom just upgraded to iOS 17.1.1, I think, and she says all her colors changed. And it's not something she would do. Have you heard of anything? Got any suggestions?
All her colors changed. Is there any more that you can offer in terms of that? What colors, which colors, where?
No, you know what? If you don't, I'll have to look into it. It's just, she just said that, but she says, I'm on the phone with somebody else. I'll have to get back to you.
Okay.
Those things your moms do is they give you that quick thing and then say, I'll call me later.
Oh yeah. And it's not just moms. I get this with lots of people who say, this is not working anymore. And I say, okay, but what does it mean that it's not working? Which part isn't working? And then they're, oh no, sorry, I can't explain that right now. Okay, great. That's very helpful. I will tell you this. I have not no one else has told me, nor have I read anyone saying anything about colors changing based on that update. But I would love it if you do talk to your mom and you call us back, next week or whenever. I'd love to help out and get that figured out because, yeah, whatever it happens to be, we can iron it out. My first thought is that it's possible that there was something set up on the phone in the first place that was making an adjustment, like a filter change to the colors or something. And upon updating, that has been disabled for some reason. But yeah, I'm curious now what colors changed and why. And immediately I'm drawn, I want to fix it. I want to figure out what it is. So I'd love to hear more about that. But yeah, to answer your basic question, which is, have I heard anything about that? I have not heard about colors changing based on an update to 17.1.1.
All right. Well, keep up the awesome work.
Thank you. And yeah, we will, we've made a note. We will find that YouTube video that Leo had mentioned specifically in that episode.
All right. Great.
Awesome. Thanks,
right,
Mark.
Thanks. All right. Bye.
All righty, John. Where should we go next?
Let's do an email.
Let's do an email. All right. If you've emailed us at atg@twit.tv, then your email will make its way into my or Leo's hand. This comes in from Warren, who writes, Hi, Leo and Mikah. I have an iPhone 12 mini and an Apple Watch 8. Both are up to date. When I switch listening from the iPhone to the watch starts at the beginning of the podcast. I have also tried to turn it off or on in settings. I appreciate any assistance you can provide. Thanks, Warren. So Warren is talking about the ability to move audio essentially from one device to another, but also to play stuff that plays directly on the watch itself, right? Apple gives you the ability to download a certain number of podcasts or other bits of audio, be it music, onto your Apple Watch. And this is a question, we've had a similar question in the past. And what I ended up suggesting was there is, and let me get this to, I'll turn off my AirPlay from my Mac here, and we'll switch over to the iPhone so that I can show this. They're kind of like, they're two different settings, and one will do one thing and the other will do another. So if you have both of them turned on, it ends up kind of confusing the system. So up at the top, you have a thing that says add episodes from, and down below, you have a section that says add shows. If you tap on the add shows button, it will let you add different shows that you listen to, and it will download those unplayed episodes to the Apple Watch for those shows. What I recommend is not using that. I recommend, instead of going from the show side of things, that you do it by episodes and you do it from the up next section. When you do that, it is syncing based on your listening as opposed to syncing based on whether or not you are, depending on what shows you're listening to, right? That the most recent show that you're listening to, the most recent episode that you're listening to, is what ends up getting downloaded to the Apple Watch. Because I found that if a show is downloading to the Apple Watch and a show is downloading to the iPhone, when you go from playing it on the iPhone to playing it on the Apple Watch, it almost treats the show as that specific episode as a new thing, right? Because it exists independently on the Apple Watch. If you use the up next to sync it, then it is getting all of its information from the iPhone and using that as kind of the boss that tells it what to do. And so as you're syncing from up next and as you're playing on your iPhone, then when you move to the Apple Watch, it should be where you were on the iPhone. So I would, again, just suggest heading into that section of the Watch app, which is in the Watch app on iOS. You tap on podcasts, and then in this section, just make sure you don't have stuff down in the shows part, but that you're using the add episodes from up next section as your method of syncing between the two. And that should take care of it. So thank you, Warren, for writing in. And of course, let us know if you have any follow-up questions there. We appreciate you. Okay, where to next, John?
I'm going to pick up on a phone call.
All right, we have someone who's called in at 888-724-2884 to ask a question. Remember that when you join the call, you will need to hit *6 on your phone to unmute yourself. *6 on the phone to unmute yourself.
Hello?
Hello, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Clinton. I'm calling from Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Wonderful. Welcome to the show, Clinton.
Oh, thank you.
How may I help?
All right, so I've got an unusual, probably unbelievable question.
Okay.
All my iOS devices, like my iPhone and my iPad, are pretty well unusable. Just the weird things happen. And what I've come to discover is that I downloaded, well, there are many apps there, but I downloaded an app to read what are my IP address settings on the on my phone using just the cellular radio. And what is interesting about it is that my internet IP address, right, is a private, as opposed to when I compare it to other people's phones. It comes as a private address. It's a 192.0.0.2. And furthermore, I do not have a DNS. And like I said, and I believe this is the root cause of my problem, the problem with the phone, and I'm not sure what to do about it. How do I get it so that it's working like a regular phone again?
Okay, so you cut out a little bit at the beginning. The part that I got was that you downloaded an app and you were able to check your IP address, and your IP address is showing up as a private IP address. And of course, when you compare it to other people, those IP addresses are not private. What I missed was the issue that it's causing with everything. I'm assuming you're saying you're having trouble connecting to any of the internet because of this?
Well, furthermore, right, along with those settings, right, I do not have a DNS, right? The DNS is blank.
Okay.
Right? And like, as I said, I cannot use this phone for anything but just phone calls.
Right. Okay. I see what you're saying.
When I try to purchase something on it, it fails.
And this is an iPhone?
This is an iPhone 13 mini.
Okay. First thing that I want you to do, or if you're able to do this, if you're talking on it, open up the settings app and go into general, and then scroll all the way down in general till it kind of bounces off the bottom. You should see a section that says VPN and device management. And do you see anything?
There's a VPN.
Hang on. Do you see anything else in that section?
Yes, I do. I do have a VPN. I subscribe to a VPN because of it, although it is turned off right now.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I got the VPN was because of this issue, but it has not helped. It has not helped at all.
Oh, so I'm actually not asking about whether you have a VPN. I was curious if on that general page at the bottom, if you see anything that says profiles.
No profiles.
No profiles. Okay. Because at first it sounded like a profile might have been installed that caused this issue. I assume that you have removed the VPN configuration after you configured it and reinstalled it just to see if that shook anything loose.
It did not.
Okay.
I have done that.
And then the next thing that I would typically have someone troubleshoot would be to go into, once again, into general, and then move into the transfer or reset iPhone section. I'm not going to tell you completely reset your iPhone. Don't worry. And then hit the reset button and choose reset network settings. Have you done that?
I have done, not only have I done reset network settings, I've done reset all settings. I have had the phone replaced. I've had the SIM card replaced.
Wow.
Sleeping out the SIM card, right? I have taken it out and put it in someone else's SIM card, and the phone is fine. When I put my SIM card into any iOS phone or tablet, right? The same address comes up.
Okay, interesting. So this is not something that happens if you're connected to Wi-Fi. It's only something that happens when you're using your cellular connection.
When I do connect to Wi-Fi, right? Mm-hmm. Again, it appears I'm connected. Well, no, it's connected to Wi-Fi right now, but it appears to go through the same address, right? And the same settings still do appear.
And you're not able to browse the web. You're not able to.
I am able to browse the web. I'm able to do things, but just the most weirdest stuff happens. Whether it's using the GPS or I'd be. I think the most annoying thing is like when I open up an app, like especially like the camera or anything that the phone came with.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be opening like the app for like the first time. So, for instance, the camera, I hate the live feature on it, right? So I turn that off, and it stays off, right? But when I open up the camera app, right, sometime later, and it's sporadically, it's not all the time, right? It's be like opening up the app for the first time, where you are prompted with multiple messages, whether it's location services or notifications and all that. It's like all these messages pop up as though you're opening it up for the first time, and that's with all the apps like the GPS or everything.
So my next question for you: who's your carrier?
Yeah.
Who's your cellular carrier there in Canada?
So up here it is. I've been using Rogers.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I've brought the attention up to them, but however, I mean, it's just they don't understand or choose not to. And I have taken it to the Apple Store multiple times, right? And I've spoken with Apple Care multiple times. They don't seem to understand what's going on.
So you've taken it to the Apple Store, and when you did, were you able to replicate the issues? Were you able to show them the issues that you're having, or did they not happen when you were there at the Apple Store?
It appears they had an excuse for everything every time I showed them an anomaly, like, and it's just very frustrating. So I've given up on them.
Yeah. See, the problem here is it would be helpful to know what they said during that time when one of these anomalies appeared.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's not happening. It is not an issue of you being able to connect with Wi-Fi. This is completely a cellular thing.
Yeah.
Because you putting your SIM into another device causes that device to have the same issue. And
exactly.
So if that is the case, one thing, I think you've said that you tried to get a new SIM, did you not?
Oh, I've replaced the SIM multiple times. I've even reset the iPhone to like the DFU mode,
mm-hmm.
right? Like I said, everything, nothing changes. Like I said, what I've described before, everything happens, right? And it's been for the last 2 years. And what I've come down to after this 2 years is what I've come to learn down is that the IP settings for my cellular radio,
mm-hmm.
right, is made me part of a subnet, right? Based on these readings, right?
Right.
Because I mean, I've downloaded many apps and they've all say the same thing, or go to what's my ISP, right, on the web browser.
Yeah.
I'm actually, quite frankly, I'm being tracked by an unknown entity. You want?
Well, no, I
don't know what to do.
Arguably, that would not be the case. Otherwise, you would, if you were being tracked, they would be able to actually, GPS would work, and you would be able to connect to the internet over it. If you can't make any connection, that they can't. Well, how would they be tracking you? Because they can't connect.
Like I said, the DNS, my DNS, it is blank. It is blank.
It sounds like ultimately what's happening here is the SIM card is putting into your phone a static IP with no DNS, and it seems like the only thing. I know you said you've tried different SIMs here.
It's not only a static IP, but it's an IP address that is used for private use, right?
Yeah,
because it starts at 192.0.0.2.
Yeah,
I have 3 other devices that take SIM cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they're all the same.
Yeah, this is
and
this.
I cannot.
This is odd, right?
Do anything with my phone.
Well,
it's not only that. You won't believe the amount of damage it's caused with me and my life.
I'm sure. I'm really sorry that this is happening to you. Ultimately, I don't think this is a very unique situation, as you started the call out with, and it appears like the only advice I can offer you, and it's the same advice I'm seeing repeated over and over again in our chat room of many a tech savvy individual, is that you've got to keep pushing with Rogers, because it appears that it is something to do with the SIM card itself. And I know that it's frustrating because you have tried to work with them before, and it's still not happening, unfortunately. But I do hope that maybe there's somebody else out there who's experienced something similar, and you are able to that we hear from that person who says, "Oh, this happened to me before. Here's how we're going to fix it." But sadly, I think this is something between you and your God, which in this case happens to be Rogers, your cellular provider. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate the call. All righty, we are moving right along. I think we've got some time before our guest joins us today, but let us take a quick break so I can tell you about our second sponsor of this episode. It is Wix, who are bringing you this episode of Ask the Tech Guys. Web agencies out there, you are gonna like this one. Let me tell you about Wix Studio, the platform that gives agencies total creative freedom to deliver complex client sites while still smashing deadlines. How? First, let's talk about the advanced design capabilities. With Wix Studio, you can build unique layouts with a revolutionary grid experience and watch as elements scale proportionally by default. No-code animations add sparks of delight, while custom CSS gives total design control. But it doesn't stop there. Bring ambitious client projects to life in any industry with a fully integrated suite of business solutions, from e-com to events, bookings, and more, and extend the capabilities even further with hundreds of APIs and integrations. You know what else? The workflows just make sense. There are the built-in AI tools, the centralized workspace, the on-canvas collaborating, the reuse of assets across sites, the seamless client handover, and that's not all. Find out more at wix.com/studio. Thank you so much to Wix for sponsoring this week's episode of Ask the Tech Guys. All right, we are back from the break, and now it is time for what, John Ashley?
Mike.
All right, Mike, come on down. You're the next contestant on Ask the Tech Guys. And Mike will be joining us momentarily in the Zoom, where you will be able to unmute yourself using more standard methods, given that you are a video call as opposed to a phone call. Mike, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Hi.
Sorry about
that's okay.
Sorry about the. I'm looking to upgrade my iPhone 12 to an iPhone 15, mostly for the camera. But I know early on, as most new products have their technical issues.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they're sorted. Is it still worth buying, or should I wait?
So you said you're on an iPhone 12 right now?
I am.
Okay, so yes, you are right in suggesting or being concerned that in the early days of a new device, there are going to be little hurdles that might pop up, because essentially Apple goes from any company will go from a very locked down approach of bug testing, where oftentimes these devices are covered in like big plastic or other sorts of objects so that they don't look like they are the latest and greatest iPhone. And that testing needs to take place in controlled environments. Sometimes they let the different people take them home, but they're only specific people. And so there's just no way to catch all of the issues that might crop up over time. So what ends up happening is, after the first sort of shipment of the new phone or device goes out, then in the real world, with millions of iPhones being tested or other phones being tested, we learn about how this is not working or that has an issue or what have you. And so what is great about that period of time is that Apple is going into is whenever this happens, they are very quick to find different phones that have an issue and collect them and learn about them and fix the issue, right? And so that process typically happens in the month after the new iPhone is released. So it released in September, in October, it was announced in September. In October, then that whole month is the period where they're grabbing all these phones that might have issues and finding out which ones are trending and or that they crop up regularly and taking care of the problem from there. Now, if it's a hardware problem, it can sometimes be fixed with a firmware or a software update. If it's a software problem, obviously that's fixed with software. And there haven't been any of the kind of, stop down, start the sirens and freak out issues with this new iPhone. And because of that, that's been great. There were some issues with iOS 17. We are now on iOS 17.1.1. And that means that not only is it the update that fixes the problems that they found in the release of the software, but also it's an update that fixes the problems found in the update that fixes the problem that were found in the release of the software. So we're at a good place now, software-wise, and we're now at a good place now at the end of November. It's been, 2 months of looking for those issues, hardware-wise. And so I do think that it is a good time to consider making that upgrade rather than waiting for something to change. Things kind of solidify, and Apple is, working on even just getting supply to reach demand. So it's not a bad time at this point to make that jump. And I think going from an iPhone 12 up to an iPhone 15, there's a part of me that's almost jealous of you in the sense that there's going to be much more of an exponential jump there, right? That you will get to really appreciate the new camera system and what that provides over what the iPhone 12 did at the time. So yeah, I think that you have been very patient and have done a good job of holding off to make sure that everything gets ironed out as it needs to be. But I would argue that we are past those wrinkles and that we have moved into the stage. And yes, as someone in the chat has pointed out too, anytime that there's been some sort of hardware thing in the past, Apple has been very good about supporting its customers and making sure that those devices are replaced. I had even me, who gets these things on launch day like a fool, but as someone who needs to be able to test this stuff, I had an iPhone on launch day. I think it was 2 iPhones ago. And there was something wrong with the display. So I documented the issues that I had with the display. When it was very dim, it didn't look right. That's a kind of simple explanation of it. And I documented it, but I don't necessarily know that I had a whole lot of necessary proof to explain what was going on. And I was kind of worried about it, but I reached out to Apple support. I said, hey, this is the issue that I've had. I've done these few troubleshooting things. I'm, running the latest software. And even though it was in the period of time after the new iPhones had just gone out, they were able to get me a new iPhone within days of me having sent off the one that I felt had a problem. So even in those early days, they're very good about doing this. Now that things are getting much more steady and everything's kind of leveling out, even if there was some issue that cropped up, 3 or 4 months later, you would be definitely able to not worry about, getting a replacement if that was the case. But all that said, I have not seen any large issues that haven't already been addressed by software updates and firmware adjustments that have taken place. So yeah, it's a really good question. I imagine it's a question that a lot of people have. When is a good time to upgrade if I want to avoid any of the headache of kind of new hardware purchasing? I think it's a really good question.
Well, thank you very much. You're always extremely helpful. I do appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for calling in, and happy holidays, and we appreciate it.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. All righty. What we have time for? What, an email maybe?
Well, there was someone who actually asked.
Oh, that's right. There was a Discord question. Yes. Let's take a look at the Discord question. So you have let me know. I am running iOS beta 17.2. So first of all, I would like to let you know that if you tried to call Apple with this, Apple would say, oh, well, you're running beta software, so bye. I'm running iOS beta, trust me, from experience, iOS beta 17.2. And the other day, my YouTube app was switched to Belarusian. Should I be worried? It took a lot of Google Translate to discover where to change it back. Oh, man. Should you be worried? No, I don't think that if the implication there is that by updating to iOS 17.2, you have somehow allowed a hacker from Belarus to get into your phone, that's sort of the implication of worry. So in that case, no, I don't think you should be worried. I think that you are running a beta and lots of weird things happen. And it is probably, this is the thing. All of these little features are tied to other settings and features of your phone. And so localization features like switching it to Belarusian is tied to the base settings on the iPhone. And so what may have happened is that when the update took place, this could have been any number of things. Something either didn't make its proper connection and somehow it changed to Belarusian because of that, or it thought that you were in Belarus, or that's the thing. We don't know. But because it starts with iOS beta 17.2, that tells me that is at issue here. Now, if you continue to experience this issue post whenever you get back to a non-beta, then there's something to be concerned about. Scooter X does point out that there isn't a Belarusian language in iOS, or that may not be. But if you were using Google Translate to kind of determine what the language was, it's possible that it thought that what it was Belarusian, and because it was close enough to whatever language it actually was, you were able to use that to navigate through the app and find that. But a delightful question. I don't think that you should be worried about it. I think that if it keeps happening, then hey, you're going to learn some Belarusian. That's awesome. Pretty soon you'll know what settings, language, and English are all in Belarusian. So that's cool. But good question nonetheless. If you do have, an issue that pops up and, you're running betas, what should you do? Well, I also would suggest and recommend that you take screenshots of that having happened and use the feedback app that gets installed on your iPhone whenever you run a beta to let the developers know that that's going on. Because particularly for apps that are very popular apps, Apple will look to those and make sure that everything is correct. But I'm kind of curious now because I do believe I switched to a beta. I'm currently running the developer beta. I wonder what happens when I launch the YouTube app if it switches a language. Nope, still in English. Odd. Oh well. So yeah, that didn't happen to me, but interesting nonetheless. Let us know if it happens to you again in maybe the next beta. That would be kind of cool to figure out. All righty, John, is it time for a guest to join us?
I think it's time.
All right, it's time to put on your dance and disco shoes, start the disco music, and pull out the disco lights, because Dicky DeBartolo is joining us on Ask the Tech Guys. Welcome.
How are you?
Oh, I am doing quite well, Dick. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was quiet, but it was great. Turkey stuffing. What can be bad about that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
The Belarusian guy. There's a much simpler solution: is just find someone in Belarusia or whatever that place is, and if they have an English phone, just swap it with
That's
them.
exactly what they should do. Well, why didn't I think of that? See, maybe you should be joining me every week to give these answers.
Yeah. That would be the kiss of death.
Dicky D joins us from time to time here on Ask the Tech Guys to tell us about some gizmos and gadgets worth checking out. So I am looking forward to seeing what you're going to make me buy my niece this time around.
Well, you know what? Does she have a weird sense of humor?
I don't know if she's old enough yet to.
Okay. Oh, okay. A lot of I showed this on GizWiz, and a lot of people thought it was funny, and several people, including me, think it's strange. Okay, it's called the Face Bank.
Bank.
Yes, it's a bank that when you put money in it, it kind of eats the money.
Oh, weird. It's creepy.
Isn't it? It is creepy, right?
Oh, that is creepy. I kind of love it.
And okay.
Yeah, I guess I fall into that category of weird sense of humor because
yes,
it's very odd.
Well, yes, if you don't need it right away, on Amazon, I paid $17, and I think now I checked right before the show, it was $16. I guess AliExpress is looking at what you're looking at, because then a couple of days later, I got a thing that, the Face Money Bank is on AliExpress for either $6 or $7.
Wow.
But you have to remember, it could be, 2 or 3. They're getting better over there at shipping stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll save a lot of money if you like that, and it comes in different colors.
Yeah, I see it comes in blue brick, I think will be the one I'm getting.
Yes, exactly. So if you want to search AliExpress, just type in Face Bank, and that should come up.
Weird. It's so weird.
The other thing is, now, you know what? Do you live in a house or an apartment?
Yeah, I live in a townhome, yeah.
In a home. Okay. Yeah. All right. So this is probably more for people who live in apartments and don't have a lot of space.
It's a tiny townhome, so I might
okay.
Yeah.
This may work, and I'll tell you why in a minute, why it's a great time if you like the idea. So when I don't have anything to do, I just roam through pages of Amazon, and I see magnetic spice racks. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, well, you know what? I don't use spices, but a magnetic rack would be great, because in my kitchen, I need more space. So I bought a set of these. You get 5 of them. It's 4 magnetic shelves and a magnetic towel rack.
Ooh.
And I held it up to the refrigerator, and the refrigerator almost hold the shelf in. The magnets are great.
Oh, so they're super strong magnets.
Super strong magnets. So now I have 3 shelves on the side of my refrigerator, which is a giant help. I put glasses in one, cups in another, and then pens and pencils and flashlights in the 3rd shelf.
Ooh.
And I already have a countertop paper towel holder. I stuck the magnetized paper towel on the front of my refrigerator, and I hang dish towels on it.
Smart. Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah.
They are great. And the reason that it turned out to be extra great is I was looking up to see they were $40 or $41.99. And it turns out that on Amazon, they are, what is tomorrow? The Monday?
Cyber Monday.
Cyber Monday at half price.
No way I'm getting them.
So they're, I believe, $20.49. You get the 4 magnetic shelves and the paper towel holder that, as I said, you can hang towels on it.
Oh.
And Dennis bought a set because his desk has no drawers. His desk is just a work shelf. He put these on the side of his computer because it's in a metal case. And now he has a place to have an extra keyboard, an extra mouse, pens and pencils. So any place you have a magnetic surface, you could use these.
Yeah, they show them in one photo stuck to the side of a washer, which I think is a great place to have them.
You could, yes, you could stow your washing tablets and bleach and stuff.
Yeah, this is quite good.
They're kind of fun, aren't they?
Yeah, and there's a refrigerator. My refrigerator. There's an area on the right side of it that is currently not being used for storage, and now it will be because I'm getting these at 50% off.
Yeah, I think they're great. As a matter of fact, now that you showed it, I'm thinking I should probably just have another set.
Yeah, I think you should.
Then I'll have to search for something magnetic.
And pretty soon, yeah, your whole wall will be metal. Just so can you imagine having a whole metal wall? That'd be great. You could stick these all. You just have so much storage space.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be careful when you open a box of paper clips.
Just go to the wall.
Go to the wall.
Not meant for anyone with a pacemaker device that's controlled by magnets or anything. But
exactly, yeah, the magnets are strong, but you need that because you're going to put. I believe they said it can hold up to 15 pounds, something like that. So they're pretty substantial.
Nice. Wow. I'll put my weird face bank on my magnetic shelf.
There you go. There you go.
Creep people out when they walk by. It reminds me of The Never-Ending Story. I don't know what from The Never-Ending Story, but something from The Never-Ending Story, that movie.
It's the rock monster.
It is the rock monster. Yes.
Yes.
Gobbles up rocks. And it kind of reminds me of that. Well, Dicky D, always a delight to have you on the show so that I can buy stuff that I think is well worth it. Stuff that either makes someone else happy or makes me happy. I
do a quick plug for one thing.
Please. Yes.
Yes. Okay. GizFizz is continuing. You stopped streaming over there. Mm-hmm. So I timed it so it goes on after This Week in Google. So it's 8:30 New York time on the East Coast and 5:30 on the West Coast. So a lot of people emailed and goes, "Oh, we want to play games. We want to answer match game questions." So I am continuing GizFizz over at gizwiz.tv.
Gizwiz.tv is where you'll head to be able to continue to watch the show. That's wonderful. I'm really glad to hear that. That's great.
Thank you. Thank you.
And now I suppose is the time to mention the What the Heck Is It competition. If you head to gizwiz.me and you click on What the Heck Is It, you will be presented with an item where you will need to come up with what the heck it is. If you can figure out what it is, or if you can give an answer that's wonderful but is wrong, you may just get a copy of Mad Magazine. They're up to 6 for the correct answer, up to 12 for the, as you put it, cute, silly answers.
Exactly. We record stupidity. We award stupidity at gizwiz.biz.
I think I might actually know. If I don't know what it is specifically, I think I know what brand it. I won't say, but I think I know what you're covering up there because it looks familiar.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
You can see through tape.
Yeah, I've got the X-ray specs.
Wow. You're probably too young to remember X-ray specs.
I am too young to remember them. However, it was just a New York Times crossword answer the other day, and I didn't know that it ended with X. And so I was very confused. I thought there's not enough space here for me to write X-ray specs, but I know it's X-ray. So, but it ended up being, X-ray, SPEX was how they had it. Now I'm seeing an image where it's spelled SPECS. So I don't know. In the crossword, it was SPEX. That's all I know.
Well, the fact that you can do the crossword is even more impressive.
Oh, that's a good time for me. But folks, head over to gizwiz.biz. That'll redirect you to gizwiz.me to check out all of the awesome stuff that Mad's maddest writer, Dicky D. Bartolo, is up to. And of course, head to gizwiz.tv to keep checking out the Giz Fizz. Dicky D, I hope you have a lovely holiday season and you get some great Cyber Monday deals.
The same. And I believe I'm seeing you one more time before the big holiday.
Absolutely. So we'll see you then. Thanks so much.
Okay, buddy. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Should we take another break? I can't.
Yes.
Okay, cool. We'll take another break. Thank you, Dicky D, for joining us here on Ask the Tech Guys. Let me tell you about Cashfly, who are bringing you this episode of Ask the Tech Guys. Quite literally. For more than 20 years, Cashfly has held a track record for high-performing, ultra-reliable content delivery. They're serving over 5,000 companies in more than 80 countries. These organizations consistently choose Cashfly for scalability, for reliability, and for unrivaled performance. Cashfly's revolutionary storage optimization system ensures your holiday season remains jolly. This system creates private partitions dedicated entirely to your use, providing 100% bandwidth to ensure your content remains king. Keep your data and your content primed, closer to your customers, maintaining optimal speeds and ensuring quicker content delivery no matter where your customers are. Let Cashfly supercharge your images and watch your web content soar to new heights of efficiency and performance. Jump on board with Cashfly's smart image optimization service and give your audience the seamless, lag-free experience they deserve. By keeping your content on the edge, Cashfly ensures that your delivery speed is instantaneous. You can add Cashfly's video on demand, that's VOD cache layer, to your mix, witness a transformative reduction in loading times, and say goodbye to the bufferin' blues. Immediately and permanently drive your cache hit ratio to 100% using Cashfly's VOD cache. With Cashfly, you will get a variety of benefits, including ultra-low latency video streaming that delivers video to more than 1 million concurrent users, lightning-fast gaming that delivers downloads faster with zero lag, glitches, or outages, mobile content optimization that offers automatic and simple image optimization so your site loads faster on any device. It's the only CDN built for throughput. You can deliver rich media content up to 10 times faster than traditional delivery methods and 30% faster than other major CDNs. Plus, you get flexible month-to-month billing for as long as needed and discounts for fixed terms once you're happy. Design your contract when you switch to Cashfly. With Cashfly's elite managed packages, you are going to get the VIP treatment. Your dedicated account manager will be with you from day one, ensuring a smooth implementation and reliable 24/7 support when needed. Twit has been using Cashfly for more than a decade, and we wouldn't have it any other way. So jumpstart your journey with Cashfly with a complimentary first month, or give it a whirl with a free 5 terabyte account. Free 5 terabyte account. Simply go to cashfly.com/twit. That's CACHEFLY.com/twit. Thank you, Cashfly, for sponsoring this week's episode of Ask the Tech Guys. All right, back from the break. And I believe it's time for another question. I don't know why it's spooky.
I don't know why you did either. But let's pick up on, I'm not sure if it's actually Blair Martin, but they're a phone caller. So.
All right. We've got somebody calling in at 888-724-2884, listed as Blair. Whoever you happen to be, when you are brought in, remember to hit *6 on your phone to unmute yourself as you are brought into the call. We have we've invited you to join us for this call, and it looks like you're on. So remember to hit *6, and as soon as you are with us, tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hi, Joe from Santa Barbara.
Hi, Joe from Santa Barbara. How may I help?
Yeah, I have a Mac Air, and I use Safari 15.6 for my browser. And one of my banks now requires 16.0 Safari for banking.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem I have is that my Mac Air is from 2012, and it only go up to Catalina.
Yep.
And Catalina only will accept Safari 15.6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yes, this is because you have an older system. Basically, you're unable to update to a newer version of the operating system that will give you access to a newer version of the browser that will give you access to your banking app. I'm going to give the chat room time to remind me of a service we've mentioned in the past that lets you install a newer version of the Mac operating system on an older machine. But what you could also do is you can use a different browser. And I'll mention thank you to Brian C. in the Discord, who has reminded me of the name. I should have that written down somewhere. Maybe I'll get a tattoo. But if you download a different browser, Firefox or Chrome, and I know, Look, I'm a Safari user. I love Safari. I like the stuff that I have set up in Safari. I love the settings that are in Safari. I don't want to use other browsers. But for the sake of being able to access your banking, you might want to be able to, to try a different browser. That's the easier option. I recommend Firefox. Personally, and it's especially on a MacBook Air. Chrome is a heavy resource hog, and so a MacBook Air would probably run Firefox a little better. However, if you want to go the more difficult route, there is a little tool called Open Core Legacy Patcher. And we'll include a link in the show notes, as we always do, to Open Core Legacy Patcher. It is a tool that allows you on an older machine, like your MacBook Air from, I think you said 2012 or 2014, to be able to install newer versions of macOS. Now, it's important to understand that at any time when you're using a tool like this, Apple could make a change in the operating system that makes it so that you're not able to do it. There's every possibility that this is not a permanent long-term solution. But up to this point, it's been a great solution for a lot of folks to be able to install the latest version of macOS on their older machines. So Open Core Legacy Patcher is an option for you. I don't have a complete walkthrough or anything like that. Luckily, the site has a great set of documentation that will explain how to get it installed, how to use it, what you need to do, etc. But it will let you. It basically bypasses that thing that says, "Oh, I can't install a newer version of the operating system." So let me do that. But yeah, if you need a quicker fix, I just think you should download Firefox and use that just for your banking and just keep everything else in Safari as you want to.
Yeah, I did because I couldn't go through. I used Chrome last time and everything was fine, but I just wanted to stay with Safari.
I'm with you. I really like Safari. I think it gets out of the way and it's very lightweight. So I completely understand wanting to fully use Safari. Of course, your bank is doing it. It's for a good reason. The security of an older browser is not going to be as great as a newer one, and it sounds like you get that. So between using Chrome or Firefox or going all the way with Open Core Legacy Patcher, one of those should work, or perhaps a Black Friday deal or Cyber Monday deal could, help you work your way into a newer machine, if you can.
Get a new one, yeah.
That's always an option, but it's an expensive option.
Yeah. Another thing I'd like to say is thanks for being so patient with some of the callers. It's appreciated.
Oh, you know what? I think patience is one of the most important things because it's hard, right? When stuff isn't working how you expect it to, and when you're left with confusion or in some cases fear, I think a patient understanding of that is very important. And that's what we're here to do, right? Is to help people with the issues that they have, even if some of them are perplexing and are maybe not something we're able to fix ourselves. The other great thing is that we've got such great folks who are out there listening, who are so helpful and have their own thoughts and ideas that I often am able to pull from. So I'm thankful to the patience that the folks that listen to this have, and thank you for calling in with your question.
All right, Micah. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All righty. I'd like to go to another email if that's all right.
You can do whatever you want.
All right. So here is an email from Robert. Robert writes in with an interesting problem. Longtime subscriber going back to the Tech TV days. Thank you for subscribing. How can I record content on a Mac from another Mac? I want to record the boot sequence, including login and user movements, to document a process for onboarding our new employees. Do you have any recommendations to capture the entire process? Thanks, Robert. Robert, you present us with an intriguing question, because what you want to do requires access to the view of the screen before we actually get into macOS proper, right? You want to get the boot sequence, the login, and all of that stuff. So what I am going to recommend to you is a little device called an HDMI capture device. What you are going to do is essentially make the Mac think that the display that you're using is this HDMI capture device. So in the same way that when I plug a screen into a Mac Studio, or I plug a screen into even this MacBook Air and I close the lid on it, it sends all of that information to that external display, and I'm able to look at everything on the external display. An HDMI capture device captures what is coming through HDMI. So there are many options out there. Elgato sells HDMI capture devices that come in all sorts of varieties, including HDMI capture cards. But you can get a little device that plugs into your other Mac, for example. So here is the CamelLink 4K, which people typically use with a DSLR. They have their actual camera and they plug that in to this CamelLink, which has an HDMI port at the end of it. That runs to the camera outputs into the CamelLink, and then the CamelLink via USB goes into your machine, and you're able to then view that as your camera. So you would be able to then essentially just capture from that. I recommend something a little bit more powerful, like the HD60, for example. This is a relatively new device, but this has multiple capture options. So you can plug in that device in the back and be able to get it. Now, excuse me, if you want to get fancy, Blackmagic also makes a device called the ATEM Mini. And the Blackmagic ATEM Mini is, again, it's more an interface than a capture device, but what it lets you do is, in the same way, be able to pipe in multiple HDMI connections, be it from a machine or from a camera, whatever it happens to be, and pull the audio, the video out of that and display it somewhere else. So, you you could even go as inexpensive as finding something on Amazon. Amazon sells a lot of different HDMI capture devices. It just depends on the level of quality you're looking for and how much you're willing to fiddle around with things. So I don't necessarily want to point you to something specific other than to say that I know that the hardware from Elgato and the hardware from Blackmagic, it's probably overpowered for what you need if you go with the HD60, for example. But if you go with something as simple as the CamLink, that might be a good option for you. But what you'll do is you'll take the device, you'll plug it into that second Mac that you're using to kind of record things with, and you'll open up your recording software. It could be something as simple as using QuickTime. So you can open up QuickTime, and next to the record button, there'll be a little arrow that you click and you choose that CamLink as the option, hit record. And then you have on the other side of the CamLink is the Mac that you're wanting to actually do the stuff on. That's got an HDMI cable plugged into it that's running into the CamLink, which is running into the machine that is recording everything. And then on that secondary machine, you're able to do the full process from the boot all the way through to the end game. If you didn't need to do the boot sequence and all of that, it's much simpler because you could just do a screen recording on the machine itself to do it. But because you're needing to kind of see it from the perspective beforehand, that's why we need something like an HDMI capture card. So yeah, that's how you would pull that off, Robert. And thank you for that question. I thought it was a fun one, an interesting little problem to figure out. All righty, John, who are we going to next?
Let's pick up another phone caller.
Sounds good. We've got somebody on the line. We will bring you into the Zoom. And I remind you that if you are calling us at call.twit.tv and part of the Zoom call, if you have a question that you want answered, make sure to hit the little thumbs up icon. It's a button that will appear in the UI, typically at the bottom of the UI. You hit that button and it causes this little yellow hand to raise on the screen. That way we know you have a question, because we do have folks who just like to hang out in the Zoom room. And so if you are here for more than just hanging out, let us know with that little hand raise. But in the meantime, I think we've got our caller on the line. Let us know your name and where you are calling from.
Is that me?
Yes, that is you.
Oh, okay. Well, you can use my Club Twit name, which is Superseded.
Hello,
so
Superseded.
You can call me you can call me Super. Yeah. And I hope everybody that's listening has a Club Twit account.
I hope so too. Call.twit.tv or twit.tv/clubtwit.
Yeah. So what I'm calling about is I just got a new iPad that's 10th generation, and it's the first time I've ever used Apple. And I got it. I use a Windows PC, so I bought it for the sole purpose, initially anyway, to use Procreate.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with that app?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, good. And so I haven't done anything with the iPad yet except put a case on it
good.
so I don't break it.
Very good.
But what I'm wondering is how I'm using it to edit some, I guess, take photos and then edit them for Fiber Arts.
Uh-huh.
And I'm wondering how am I going to get my edited photos and open them on my Surface Studio PC?
Very good question.
That's where I do that work. So I don't even understand file names or anything.
I would love to know first and foremost what Fiber Arts you do.
It's quilting.
Oh, fantastic!
Oh, but you know what? You should listen. You yourself should watch Textile Talks. They have recordings from. It's mostly art museums and quilters. One recent rerun that they would have was it was either knitting or crocheting or both artists in museums. So, and I was thinking of you when I was watching it.
Ooh, I will definitely. It's called Textile Talk.
Textile Talks, yes.
Awesome.
So, anyway, going back to let's see, I don't even know what the file extension name is going to be on there, and I'm assuming I can. Oh, how can I open the Apple file in Windows, or it'll be a photo.
Right.
I don't understand.
Okay. So I just want to make sure I'm getting your process down. So you are taking a photograph like with the iPad or with a different camera and having it on your iPad. And then what you want to do is take that camera or that photograph. I guess you're asking like from Procreate, and be able to pull that up on your Windows machine to do more editing on it. Am I clear? Or is that correct?
That's kind of it. Windows can't use Procreate. There's not an app for that. So I just probably it makes sense that I would take a photo on the iPad, because that would be the logical thing.
Yes.
Although if I could bring it in from someplace else, that's another complication. And then you edit it. I would edit it with Procreate, and then what?
Okay.
I don't know.
So what's great about Procreate is that Procreate lets you export in lots of different formats.
Good.
Yeah. So Procreate for iPad, and I'm on a page that I'm going to share with John, our producer, that is a Procreate page that has basically all of the stuff, all of the different files that it can share. So it can share individual layers as PDFs. It can share a JPEG. It can share a PNG. It can share a TIFF. It can share even a Photoshop PSD. So it doesn't need to stay in the Procreate file format, which is great. You basically, when you're in Procreate, you will see in the top left corner, there's a little wrench icon, and that wrench icon will have an option that says share in it. It's in the actions, and one of those actions is share. And then you'll see you can share as if it's a Procreate file, a PSD file, a PDF, a JPEG, a PNG, or a TIFF. And you can do that as the image as a whole, or you can choose to share specific layers. Procreate is smart enough to know about those. And then from there, it's going to bring up the built-in what's called the share sheet on iPadOS, which is this, you've probably seen it pop up from the bottom, and it's got, you can send a message, or you can email it, or you can, however you want to. What I'm going to recommend is a lovely, lovely tool. It's an open source tool, and it is awesome. It's called LAN Drop, LAN Drop. And this is how I get files from my iPhone or my iPad over to a Windows machine. It's a little app that you open up on Windows, and then on iPhone, it will appear in that share sheet I just mentioned. So you just tap on the icon, and it will let you, pop it over to the Windows machine. So you don't have to wait for the email to come through, or if you choose to share it to like OneDrive or something like that. This just does it over your local network. And it's really great. And it's called LAN Drop.
I'm watching you on the screen while you're showing it.
Oh, nice. Good. So yes, between those two things, you'll be able to get that, whatever file format you end up wanting to use to pull it over to your Windows machine, and be able to pull it up there or save it, or, pop it wherever you need to. So yeah, we'll have links to all of that stuff when the show goes live at twit.tv/ATG. That first bit of information is from the Procreate handbook. And then the second one is the app. It's LAN Drop, LANDROP .app is the website, landrop.app.
So can I use my Kindle? I mean, can I download Kindle files to my iPad?
So it's actually much simpler.
Question.
No, that's okay. Yeah. There's a Kindle app in the App Store. Make sure that you get the one that's from Amazon. But yeah, if you open the App Store and you type in Kindle, when you log in with your account, then your Kindle, all the Kindle books that you've purchased will let you download them. Now, if these are Kindle files that exist outside of the app, like maybe you've got them in the past or something, or they're from a different account, let me see about importing Kindle books to Kindle app. There's probably an import option, but I'm not sure.
Well, that part, I wouldn't need that myself because I have a Kindle library, and I only get my books from Amazon. But maybe some other listener might want to know that.
Yeah, so that's good. I think that they may have taken away the import option because I just use the Kindle library. That's where all of my stuff comes from. So yeah, you've got it very easy. You'll just go into the App Store, you'll get the Kindle app, you'll log in with your Amazon account, and then you'll have access to all of your Kindle books.
Oh, how about Chrome? Can I use Chrome on the iPad?
Yeah, so there's the Chrome app. It exists.
Okay. I'm really a beginner in
No, that's totally okay. So yeah, you just do a search in the App Store for Google Chrome, and then you're able to use the Google Chrome browser. Now, it's important to understand that it's going to feel a little different from the Chrome browser that you're used to, due to the way that Apple has its kind of rules set up. It's a long story, but the basics of it is the system that renders websites through Google Chrome is its own system, and the system that renders websites that decides how they appear for Safari is another system. And what Apple says is you're allowed to have your own browser, but what you're not allowed to do is have your own system that shows how those web pages appear. You have to use ours. So it won't make too much of a difference for you in terms of, because your logins will still work, all of the extensions that that stuff is still going to be the same, but it could be just slightly different in terms of your experience of using Chrome on your Windows machine. So just be aware of that. But yeah, Google Chrome is one of the apps that's available to you on the iPad.
Okay, well, that was my last. You just answered my last question, but it was for tips on what's going to confuse me when I'm familiar with Microsoft.
Yeah, I think.
So I think you covered. I'll just. Oh yeah, what's the file extension for Apple files or iPad files or whatever.
So no, that's
if I use it for some other purpose.
Yeah, that's a good question. What's great is that Apple is, if you pull a file off of your iPad, whatever the file extension is, it is going to be, let me see, how do I put this? So there's somebody out here who's going to grumble about what I'm about to say, but I'm saying this to you as someone who is asking these questions specifically. There's not an Apple file extension. If you are creating a text document in an app that creates text documents, then when you export those, they're going to show up with .txt at the end, which can be open in a Windows machine, or .docx, which can be open in Microsoft Word, or if you export a PDF, then of course it'll just open wherever. If you are doing photos, you can export those as JPEGs or PNGs or TIFFs, like all of that. Apple doesn't, sort of put an Apple covered coating on any of the files. It keeps them as they are. So different files that you're using, they're going to stay as they are. They're standard file formats. The only thing that's unique is if you're using a specific app like Procreate, which has its own file format. But the great thing is, you don't have to use that file format when you export it to your Windows machine. As we showed earlier, you hit that share button and you can say, I don't want the .procreate extension. I want .tiff or .png or .pdf. So yeah, you really won't need to worry about a specific Apple file extension or anything like that. Apple just works with the standard file formats as if it was, a PC itself. It's at this point, the operating system is advanced enough that everything's pretty well cross-compatible. It all likes to play together.
Boy, that sounds great. That was a very comprehensive answer. So thank you very much. And let me recommend your show with Rosemary.
iOS Today.
I listened to that just in case you mentioned something about some app that's that is available both in Windows and Apple.
You know what? That is a great inspiration, Super. That's something that what we should consider for a future episode is stuff that works between Apple and Windows for sure. So thank you for that, and thank you for your question. And always feel free to also write into iOS Today if you come up with an issue that you're having. We love to answer questions there and here. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
All righty, John A. Should we take a quick break?
Let's do one quick break.
All right. We will be back momentarily after a word from our sponsors. And we're back after a word from our sponsors. Who is next to join us here on?
One person kind of just hanging out on the call. I don't know if we should pick on. I think
Yeah, I saw there was a cigar going on.
Yeah, something like that.
All right. Join us in the Stargate, dear listener and caller. You too can join the call by heading to call.twit.tv. I will start by saying, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Well, my name is Aunt Pruitt and I'm calling from outside on the porch.
Hello, Aunt Pruitt from outside on the porch. How you doing?
I'm unbelievable, sir. How about yourself?
I am doing well, especially now that I've got a pal joining me here in the Stargate for this episode of Ask the Tech Guys. Welcome. How can I help you?
Thank you, sir. Quite frankly, I was just listening in as I just wanted to just sort of hang out for the day, but then a question popped in my head.
Nice.
It's getting that time of year where I'm really having to make sure everything is squared away with my backups and getting everything organized to get ready for 2024. And as you know, I have moved to Mac OS, and this will be my first time getting ready to do that migration, that annual migration, if you will, with Mac OS. And there's a problem that I have with Finder that's probably super easy for you to answer, which is why I'm asking you. And it's when I go to drag files into Finder, I tend to use the icon view.
Okay.
Every now and then I go to the list view.
Yeah.
But most of the time I go to the icon view. But there's just a little bit of an annoyance every time I drag things to Finder in the icon view. I always have to right click and do the cleanup option.
Yes.
Is there some simple setting that would allow me to just leave them be and not have to worry about them being all scattered in the window? And because it could look a little weird. I know it doesn't screw up my files being over there all scattered and whatnot, but it's just an aesthetic and sort of an OCD thing for me.
No, I totally understand. So yeah, just so we can show. So what Ant is talking about here is that let me make this full size. So when we click on the three dots, Micah's favorite button, you will see that there is the option to clean up or clean up by, and you can choose a specific way to clean those up. But when Ant is dragging a bunch of files over and drops them, they just kind of appear in random places and it's not very clean. So what we want to do is hit the three dots, and we go to show view options. And in here, you will see that there is a group by and a sort by option. And if you choose sort by and you choose snap to grid, then what will happen is when you drop those files in, they may appear in random spots, but they won't be like in between rows or anything like that. So that's the first. Yeah. That's the first thing you can do. Okay. But the second thing that you can do is you can actually say sort by, and you choose, maybe you like to have things date modified, for example, and then you choose snap to grid, you just choose date modified. And then down at the bottom, you need to click use as defaults. And what that does is it says in any Finder window that I open, I want you to sort these by date modified every time. And so then that way, whenever you're in this icon view, you're telling the system, this is how I want it to be every time. If you have it set to none, then that is where you will have that, it appear however you want to. That's the default because they don't, then you're not kind of messing with things. But to keep it locked, you can, if you're not, intent on every time I want the files to look like this, but you just want them to kind of lock to a grid at the very least, I recommend using Snap to Grid and clicking Use as Defaults. But if you are okay, you're like, look, the way that I think about files is always name, so it's alphabetical, or I like them sorted by kind, or my favorite is date modified, then you can select that, at which point you're able to choose Use as Defaults, and that will lock those to do that every time and actually keep them sorted that way.
Interesting. I find it fascinating that, Snap to Grid isn't by default in the OS.
Yeah. I wonder where that is from as well. I don't know what that, the only thing I could think is that originally it probably looked pretty cool that things didn't have to be like that. The screen was so independently addressable, right? That you could just put a file wherever. And it's like, whoa, it's just like a desktop. I can lay down a piece of paper wherever. So it almost feels like a holdover of a time when it was more about being able to show off what the machine is able to do. Now, somebody is pointing out for them, Wizardling says using Snap to Grid ruined their custom icon layouts. And so, there may be people out there who they have things just how they like them, and it's not necessarily pixel perfect. So they, they set them up a certain way. But for me, I like things to be clean and for it not to just be random, and to have what you're saying, having to hit those extra few keys or the extra few clicks to get it how you want it is annoying.
Sweet. Well, sir, I really do appreciate that simple tip. That's why I asked you, because I knew you'd know right out the gate.
Thank you though for calling in with that. Cause it's something that I'm almost always browsing in list view, but that's because I don't do a lot of photo stuff. And so for me in list view, things don't do that. And so anytime I'm in icon view and I go to drag, I'm like, why is it like this? So I completely understand that frustration and like, what is the point of this? It's silly. So great question, Ant. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, man, I appreciate your help, and shout out again to the members that's been calling in too. Appreciate y'all supporting us in Club Twit.
Indeed. Twit.tv/ClubTwit is where you head to join the club. And thank you, Ant, for everything that you do with Club Twit. We appreciate it. All righty. See ya. All right. Do we have any voicemails, John?
Yeah, we can do a voicemail.
Cool.
Hi, this is Stuart. I'm calling from Los Angeles. I'm calling just because I'm trying to set up some new Internet of Things. There's some lighting system that is attached to Wi-Fi, and I have quite a variety of other Internet of Things items, and I'm trying to figure out how best to separate the main Wi-Fi system from the Internet of Things system. And if you had any suggestions, I'm having some trouble with the current modem / router I have provided by my provider. It doesn't seem to be working as well. Thanks so much. Bye.
Okay, so if I'm understanding the question correctly, it's this what's becoming now an age-old question. Should I separate my network for Internet of Things devices and have them on, their own sort of partition? I am getting to a point, I think, as someone who has been using tech stuff, has been using smart home stuff for quite a long time, that what I feel becomes the advice is, if you invest in high quality, well-known, battle-tested, respectable in terms of sort of privacy, security, and updates brands, then it's not worth the hassle of having to have things on a separate Wi-Fi network with that IoT stuff. if you're going to have IoT stuff in your home in the first place, you are by default potentially opening yourself. I mean, just by connecting to the internet as in general, you're opening yourself up to the possibility of that being a weak point in your network, right? And so going with these brands that regularly update their devices, their firmware, have, maybe dealt with breaches in the past, are known to pay attention to what's going on, almost seems more worth it than, this hassle of trying to set up a bunch of different networks. And one of the problems, I don't usually talk about whenever we talk about having different networks, is that depending on how you set up a secondary network, you may have trouble reaching those devices to do everything that you want them to do if your own device is on your main network and that secondary device is on the partitioned network. Particularly with HomeKit, because of the way that HomeKit works and the way that it tries to do everything on the local area network, it doesn't always work as well if you have your devices on a guest network or something like that. Outside of all of that advice, I think the other thing that I would say is for anyone who has internet at home, I just really feel that it is so worth it, if you're able to, invest in your own modem and your own router, and not use the one provided by the ISP. If you're using your own modem and your own router, if you ever move, you can take it with you. You're no longer paying a monthly fee for that modem and router. Often it's a combo from the ISP, and you're able to upgrade more frequently if you'd like to, because you have the freedom to do so with your own devices. And then you have more control over it in general. So if you do decide that you want to create a partitioned network, it's much easier if you're using your own thing. I use Eero at home. I've talked about it before. I think they're great. You can set up your IoT stuff on the guest network. But again, I've run into some issues doing that before. And so I've just accepted that if I have smart home stuff, I'm going to have it on my network, and I'm going to not use the, bulb that cost me $2 from eBay and connect it to my router. That I'm going to invest in high quality products from reputable brands. And that to me seems to be a better solution than trying to use really crummy stuff and hope that if you put it on a secondary network that it's going to be okay. So yeah, that's kind of where I am as far as the advice goes there. Ultimately, using an ISP's modem and router, I don't know what it would look like to partition that network properly without knowing more about the model and what it's capable of doing. So yeah, this goes back to my earlier the way that I started off the show. If you're looking for modem and router recommendations, I suggest heading to Wirecutter. That is how I chose the modem that I have. It's an ARIS modem, and I've used ARIS now for years, and has been steadfast and true. And at the time, I believe Eero, and I'm not sure, they may still be a recommendation, but I haven't been in the market for a router in a long time because I've got Eero and it works so well. So yeah, that's the answer to that question. All righty. Where are we headed to next, John?
Pick up on another participant in the Zoom call. I think it's Vidak, I want to say.
All right. Vidak, perhaps join us in the Zoom. So as Vidak joins us there in the Zoom, we'll be able to bring you on the air.
Hello.
All right. First, tell us your name and tell us where you're calling from.
It's Vidak.
Vidak. All right.
From Montenegro. I've called the show a bunch of times.
Well, welcome back.
Yeah. Well, it's been a while. Thank you.
You sound great.
Good to be back.
This is whatever your mic or setup you're using. You sound great.
Oh, it's the magic of the Shure SM58 combined with a Scarlett 2i2.
I see. So how can I help you today?
So I think it's a quick question. I made the mistake of, I'm saying that, but it's going to be like, I don't know, 15 minutes. Just kidding. I made the mistake of buying the M2 MacBook Pro, maxed out everything except for storage. That's 1 terabyte. Just a couple of days before Apple announced M3.
Oh.
So did I do it very wrong, or am I not missing as much as I think I am?
Okay, so a couple of things. It's been 2 weeks, hasn't it?
Yes.
Because I was going to say you would have had that 2 week return if you chose to return it.
No, I haven't gotten it yet.
Oh, I thought you said
you. The problem.
You ordered it. It hasn't arrived.
Bought it.
Got it.
But yes, correct. It's arriving from the States.
Got it. Okay, understood. Okay, well, so there's still hope if you choose to go up. So, which model of M2 did you say again?
Max.
Okay. Here's what I will say. The jump between the M2 and the M3 is nowhere near as much as the M1 to the M3. But the fact that you don't have it yet, there's almost no reason to, because let me ask this. Was there a discount at the time? Because it was right before the new one was announced, right? So it wasn't as if there was a special deal. I almost don't see a reason why you wouldn't just go for the M3, other than you have to wait longer, right?
Here's the problem, though.
Okay.
It was bought by my cousin, who is delivering it to me from the States, because Apple won't ship it here because they don't want to, I don't know, I guess deal with the issue of maybe something getting broken or something like that.
Oh.
But I might be able to ask him to, I don't know, return it. Can you get, I'm guessing you can get for the same money, you can get somewhere near what I expected out for M2, right?
Somewhere near, yeah. Okay, so especially since you're not doing the big jump on the storage, you should be able to. Now, here is the thing. If your family member is able to return it, golly, this is a tough one, because it's not as simple as you walk down the street to the Apple store, you drive even a couple of hours to the Apple store and you make the return. This involves crossing borders and all sorts of stuff. There's a lot of logistics here. I honestly don't know. I'm feeling, look, okay. Let me give you advice as if I don't know your specific situation, as if I'm pretending that you are a person who bought an M2 and, wow, this chair can be very uncomfortable at times, especially whenever you're faced with a question like this. So, you've bought an M2 and it's within the 2 week return period. And as someone points out, sometimes there are extended holiday return periods. I don't know if we're within those yet, but you then hear that a week later, or a couple of days later, now there's a new one. I would tell that person, without any other context, absolutely go for the M3. And it's not just because it's the new shiny. It is because it is A, more performant, but B, that the life of the machine is going to be longer because Apple's support of the machine is going to be longer, but also something that I think is incredibly important that sometimes people don't consider is the life of the battery in the machine. If you're buying an older device, even if it's just, some months older, that battery that has been, sitting in storage somewhere for this M2 waiting to be purchased.
It's going to have a shorter lifespan.
Yeah, it's going to have a shorter lifespan. And it may not be that much shorter. And of course you can get a new battery, but like everything, why not get the most recent thing? That is what I would tell a person if I didn't know your specific context. With your specific context, you've left me in a state where I don't know which way to go, and I'm just very that makes it tough.
I can try that. I mean, the reason why I was asking is like I felt a little. I don't know what the correct word is for me not to say something I shouldn't say on air, but
trust me, everyone who heard you tell the story were all saying those words, so they'll just they're imagining it in their head right now, so you don't have to say it.
Okay, yeah, good. But I can try to do that. I don't know if Apple will go along with it, but here's what I'll say. It's worth trying, and if you don't pull it off, I know that if maybe you'll have to go to therapy a little bit, but you will be able to get past the disappointment of not having the M3, because honestly, that this maxed out machine you're going to be very happy with. Honestly, at this point, what do you do with your what stuff do you do with your machines? Are you like video editing or I don't know, folding video
proteins
and audio? I'm a audio video producer.
Okay.
Or actually, I'm a radio producer first.
Video first,
video producer,
video and audio. Yeah. So even with this machine, like it's the M3 that's all maxed out. That is, folding proteins and doing 3D modeling and all of that kind of stuff. Yes. I think you're going to be very pleased with the machine you end up with. And so regardless of whether so for you, I'm not even saying that you should get the M3 because it means that it's going to be more capable of the job that you want it to do. I don't necessarily believe that that's the case. I think this M2 that you possibly are going to get is going to be plenty capable for the job that you want it to do. The only reason that I am suggesting trying to make the M3 thing happen is for those suggestions that I made, that the life of the device is going to be just a little bit longer because it's a newer machine and has, the newer battery and everything. But I think you'll be plenty pleased with the M2 fully. I mean, you've got the M2 Max maxed.
Correct. Yes.
So yeah, I think I if it doesn't happen, then I think it'll be okay in terms of your ability to get done what you need to get done with this M2.
Well, as you said, therapy might help.
Yes, exactly. And in the end, if that's what you need, then that's what it takes.
Yeah. Can I ask another laptop question?
Yeah, of course.
I am also looking to buy a throw-around laptop because I'm not going to be comfortable lugging around a $6,000 laptop for the first whatever it takes for me to get off the honeymoon phase wagon.
Yeah.
I was trying to look for an older laptop. It doesn't have to be super capable. I just need to be able to do audio editing on it. I was looking, somebody suggested to me a Lenovo P51, which is a machine from 6 years ago. It was a workstation that Lenovo did for quite a while. And it's a 4K screen, I don't know, 32 gigs of RAM, i7 processor, whatever.
Yeah.
What is your take on buying so old of a laptop? Should I do this or maybe not?
So this goes back to what I was saying before, honestly. I understand the desire to have kind of a throw around. And, normally this is where I would say get a new Chromebook, right? Because you won't spend too much money. And also it will be new. So the battery will be new, everything. But because of what you need to be able to do with it, then you need, and you, I'm guessing, have no problem bouncing between operating systems. You're pretty good about that. So,
yes.
Look, ultimately, I guess my take is if you need it and it is, you're not investing, you're going into it fully aware that you are investing in something that is aged and that does not necessarily have the support, the company support that a newer device would have. Then in that case, I think that, again, you're going into it with eyes wide open, right? Then it's okay. I don't know that it's something that I would do necessarily. I think I would just really maybe get a case for, I would just want to use that MacBook Pro for everything, I guess, is kind of, I understand, wanting to be safe with it, but this is a tough one. I guess as well, in the sense that, I guess if you are aware of the fact that you are buying an older machine that may not have a long life and you're willing to make whatever smaller investment it is in something that might be, you're buying 3 of them over the course of the life of that one MacBook Pro because it's a bang around laptop, then by all means, you're good to go. As far as, Lenovo ThinkPads, I know Leo thinks those are great. I know Ant Pruitt has used them. I may even be currently using one, likes those. Someone in the chat suggested maybe an AMD powered machine that you can get for like $500 would be worth it. That's a little bit newer. But whether you go for something newer that's, lower powered or something older like this that is higher powered and is from a trusted brand like Lenovo, hey, as long as you're comfortable doing that, then why not?
Well, sir, you've answered all my questions. Thank you very much.
I am wishing you all of the luck and goodness in the world, that everything works out. I hope at the very least you email us to let us know what ended up happening, if you got the M2 or the M3, but feel free to call back if you'd like and let us know.
Before you let him go, Vidak, are you the guy?
Yes.
I think you called earlier, like a couple of months ago, about studio monitors. Is that right? Is that you?
Correct. Yes, that's me.
I just want to check in.
That's right.
See what you bought. Like, what did you end up with?
That's a longer story. Okay. I bought neither of the suggestions that were made in the show. I couldn't get them. Because Montenegro is Montenegro and some stuff is hard to get here. I ended up with a pair of Focal, I think that's how you say the name.
Yeah, those are great. Yeah.
Evos, which started giving off a burnt plastic smell in the first 3 hours that I had them. So I had to return them.
Oh, that's too bad.
Oh, man. So now you don't have any?
No, because I'm reluctant to buy the. I liked them. They sounded awesome. It's just that I couldn't wrap my head around me having potentially overdriven them with a Scarlett 2i2. I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, that seems
unlikely.
Seems unlikely.
And currently I don't have any. I might try to get one of the suggestions, which was a Yamaha what is it? SH2 or HS2?
HS5 or the JBLs.
Yeah, 5, correct.
Or the JBLs, right? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Correct. I might try to do that again at some point.
All right. Good luck.
Yes.
Once I solve the MacBook.
Oh man, I am wishing you all the luck in the world. As I said, thank you for your call, and I'm very hopeful that that all works out in the end.
Thank you. It was nice talking to you.
Good to talk.
Say
to
hello
you
to
too.
Leo for me.
Will do.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All righty, folks. I think we're going to call it at that. It has been a wonderful episode of, well, a wonderful joining you all for this episode of Ask the Tech Guys. I can't call it a wonderful episode. That's for you to do. Or, if you don't feel it was, let us know that too. But thank you so much for tuning in this week for Ask the Tech Guys. Again, if you want to reach out to us during the show, which we record every Sunday, round about 11 while Leo's out, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific in that area. You can head to call.twit.tv during that time to join the Zoom call where you will have your opportunity to be brought on stage to ask a question. You can also call us at 888-724-2884 during the show to be able to ask us a question, or during the week, you can call 888-724-2884. And when you do, you will be able to leave a voicemail that we can play live on air. And as always, you can email us, atg@twit.tv. When you email us with text, that ends up in our mailbox, or in this case, to my right, where I'm able to answer some of your emails. And you can also send audio and video there too, if you'd like. Those will be then played back on the show. If you would like to help support the show, one of the ways to do that is by heading to twit.tv/ATG and subscribing to the show. You can find links to subscribe to both audio and video there. And your podcast player of choice, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you happen to listen to your podcasts, Pocket Casts, Overcast, all the places, we have links there for you to kind of click or tap to pop in directly and get that subscription. That will make sure that it's available for download. Another way to help support the network as a whole and help us continue to do the show is by joining the club at twit.tv/clubtwit. When you join the club, you are going to get access to every single Twit show ad-free. So it's all the content ad-free. You will also gain access to the Twit Plus bonus feed that has extra content you won't find anywhere else, behind the scenes, before the show, after the show. Special Club Twit events get published there. So there's a whole back catalog of great stuff all at that spot. That's the Twit Plus bonus feed. And then you also gain access to the Discord, a fun place to go to chat with your fellow Club Twit members and also those of us here at Twit. That is all available. $7 a month, $84 a year when you join the club at twit.tv/clubtwit. And it doesn't stop there. You also get some Club Twit exclusive shows. There's the Untitled Linux Show, which is, as you might imagine, a show all about Linux. There's Hands on Windows, which is a short format show from Paul Thurrott that covers Windows tips and tricks. There's Hands on Mac, which is a short format show from moi, Mikah Sargent, that covers Apple tips and tricks. And there is Home Theater Geeks from Scott Wilkinson, which is a wonderful show all about home theater. There are interviews, product reviews, your questions answered, everything in between. It's home theater geekery to the max with Scott Wilkinson, and AI Inside, the show from Jason Howell that covers artificial intelligence. All of that is available to you as a Club Twit member. But one last thing that's available to you as a Club Twit member is that warm, fuzzy feeling knowing that you are helping to make all of this possible. That you are making sure that we can keep making this great stuff for you. So please consider joining the club, twit.tv/clubtwit. Shout out to all of you members out there who are a part of the club. We appreciate you, and we are thankful for you, by golly. Now is the time where I'll mention that if you'd like to check out my other shows, you can tune in on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific to watch iOS Today, which I host with Rosemary Orchard, where we cover Apple, various operating systems, iOS, tvOS, iPadOS, etc. And on Thursdays, you can watch Tech News Weekly, where Jason Howell and I talk to the people out there who are making and breaking the tech news, journalists and others, for some great tech stories. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Ask the Tech Guys. I will be back next week. Leo will be back the week after. And until then, it's time to say, have a great Geek Week. Goodbye.
Hey there, Scott Wilkinson here. In case you hadn't heard, Home Theater Geeks is back. Each week, I bring you the latest audio-video news, tips and tricks to get the most out of your AV system, product reviews, and more. You can enjoy Home Theater Geeks only if you're a member of Club Twit, which costs $7 a month, or you can subscribe to Home Theater Geeks by itself for only $2.99 a month. I hope you'll join me for a weekly dose of home theater geekitude.